I'm going to be going over the most surprising player from each team in the Western Conference this season so far. So starting it off here from the top of the Western Conference is the OKC Thunder, and I think the most surprising player, to me at least, is Alex Caruso. In the offseason, I mean, Caruso was a huge addition for this already stacked and loaded Thunder team, but we really haven't seen that offensive production from Caruso. Now, yes, is he still playing elite level defense? And is Caruso a still valuable player to this Thunder team? Absolutely 100%, but I feel like his offense has been really surprising. A guy last year who shot 40% from three, this year is only shooting about 27%. Now for the Houston Rockets, I think the most surprising player is Reed Sheppard. There's a lot of really good surprising things about this Rockets team, but I really couldn't single it down to one player besides Reed Sheppard. I mean, Tari Easton's been really good. Amen Thompson. There's been a lot of good players, but to me, that's not really surprising. I thought those guys were already good last year. But Reed Sheppard is a rookie this year. He was number 3 overall in the draft, and he has looked not great, but he also hasn't been getting too many minutes and play time on a very stacked Rockets team. He's only getting about 12 minutes per night, but in those minutes, he's only averaging 4 points, an assist, and a rebound. He's only shooting 30% from three, but I do think there's still hope for Reed Sheppard. It's really early in his NBA career, and I don't think this is going to tell the full story of Reed Sheppard. I have full confidence and faith in him that he'll turn into a real good shooter in the NBA, but it is surprising to see the number 3 overall pick not get many minutes and also not look great in those minutes as well. By far the most surprising player for the Dallas Mavericks this year is Naji Marshall. He has been elite as a new addition in the offseason for the Mavs. He's scoring 12 points per night. He gives you great elite defense. He's such a versatile defender. Now, the thing with Naji Marshall is you would hope that, his three-point shot would get a little bit more efficient, only shooting 30% from three, where last year on the Pelicans, he did shoot almost 39% from three. So something you hope that can improve from Naji Marshall, but he's picked it up a lot over the past couple weeks. And I think that's been super surprising for the Mavs. For the Memphis Grizzlies, it has to be Jay Huff. He has been a huge surprise for this Grizzlies team, and he's been a huge contributor off the bench. He's averaging 10 points and shooting over 40% from three. An efficient player. He gives you great size at that center spot and is a very versatile backup big. I think he fits his role perfectly on this team. He comes in, plays hard, knock down shots, and he scores the ball at a very high level. You'd maybe hope he grabs more rebounds at only 3 per game as a center, but still, I think he's been a huge surprise and a huge plus for this Memphis Grizzlies team. I think for the Golden State Warriors, it has to be Pods. I mean, last year, he was 5th in Rookie of the Year voting, and I thought he had a huge, bright future on this Golden State Warriors team, especially with Klay Thompson leaving in the offseason. You were hoping for huge development and growth from Pods in the offseason into year number 2, and it really just hasn't been there for him, especially efficiency-wise. In his rookie season, he shot almost 39% from three, averaging about 9 points per game. This year, only 8 points, which isn't as, much of a downgrade as you would think, but he's only shooting 24% from three and 38% from the field. So efficiency has been horrible for Podziemski, and that's the main thing. I mean, besides that, his assist numbers are about the same. For the LA Clippers, it has to be Norman Powell. I am so shocked and surprised as a Raptors fan to see Norman Powell look this elite for the Clippers. He's averaging 24 points per game on 49%, almost 50% from three. He's playing at such an efficient level. I think his playmaking's even gotten better this year. I think that's something that he's taken a huge jump at, going from only 1 assist last year to 2.5 this year. So the playmaking's improved. The scoring has jumped up over 10 or almost 10 per game. Right? He was only averaging 14 a game last year. Now he's averaging 24 a game this year. I mean, he's in real most improved conversation talks, and I think that was something that's really shocking and surprising to most NBA fans, including myself. I think for the Clippers, it has to be Norm Powell. Now, for the Phoenix Suns, I really couldn't pinpoint an exact player that's been super surprising for him, besides one name that I could think of, and that's Ryan Dunn. I think as a rookie, he's done a great job off the bench as a solid defender. I think he's a very solid defender and a guy that can hit a three-point shot. He was shooting, I think, almost 40% from three earlier in the season. That's now dropped down to 31%, but still, I think Ryan Dunn's been a surprise for the Suns team and is a guy that I think can develop into a very good role player in today's NBA. I actually do think the most surprising player on this Denver Nuggets team is Russell Westbrook. He's been an amazing addition off the bench this year for the Nuggets, but Russell Westbrook's been great. As a huge Russell Westbrook fan, I'm glad to see this. I'm so happy he finally looks back to playing good basketball, winning basketball, and helping this Denver Nuggets team. His numbers aren't anything crazy improved from past seasons, but his three-point shot looks a lot better, shooting 35% from three. He's averaging almost 2 assists more than last year on the Clippers, this year on the Nuggets. So he's been a better facilitator off the bench. I think he's in a bigger role off the bench for this Denver Nuggets team, and I think he's done a very solid job. I think for the Minnesota Timberwolves, their most surprising player has to be Donte DiVincenzo. Now, yes, I'll cut him a little bit of slack because he did get traded over the offseason. He's having to adjust to a whole new system and players and coaching staff, and yes, that can be a bit of an adjustment, but he's looked horrible to start this season, only averaging 9 points per game, where last year he was averaging 15.5, shooting 40% last year, where this year he's down to only 32%. And that's what Donte's the best at, right? He's just known for coming off the bench, be a sniper from three, can get red hot at pretty much any point, and he's a lights out 3-point shooter, or at least he was last year, and it just hasn't looked the same for Donte DiVincenzo. Now for the Los Angeles Lakers, their most surprising player I think has to be Dalton Knecht, the rookie they drafted at 23 years old. I mean, you were hoping for an NBA ready player, but to get a guy who looks like seriously one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the entire NBA is something that I think a lot of fans were shocked to see and surprised, because yes, he was really fun and really good in college. Like, he looked like one of the best college players last year, but to come into the NBA and score 11 points a night playing alongside LeBron, Anthony Davis, even a guy like D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves, the ball's in those guys' hands a majority of the game, to be able to shoot 39% from three, 47% from the field, and score 11 points a night, also grabbing 3.5 rebounds, is something that I think every Lakers fan was shocked to see. Now for the Spurs, I do think their most surprising player is Chris Paul, and his numbers aren't much better than last year, but I do think at age 39 in year 20, I was expecting a huge regress and a huge down season for Chris Paul on a weaker Spurs team. You know, yes, he's playing alongside Wemby, that makes everything easier on the court, but I do think Chris Paul has still looked like that point guard that he is pretty much over his entire career, at least playmaking wise. His assist numbers are back up to 8.5 per game, where last year on the Warriors, they were down to 6.8. So the playmaking looks a lot better from Chris Paul. He's still scoring double figures a night, 10 points per game, and his efficiency is still solid, 35% from three and 42.5% from the field. Now for the Sacramento Kings, I think it has to be Keegan Murray. He's been super disappointing this year, and for me, that's a huge surprise. Only averaging 12 points a night, shooting 29% from three and 42.5% from the field. He's just not been efficient. His rebound numbers are up compared to last year, grabbing over 2 boards a game compared to last year, but his points are down, his efficiency is down, and he just hasn't looked the same as he did in his first 2 years in the NBA. And to me, that's a surprise to see. He's only 24 years old, and I thought this was going to be maybe a Keegan Murray breakout year. Now for the Portland Trail Blazers, I think Deni Avdija is the most surprising player, only averaging 12 points per game. You know, his rebound numbers are down compared to last year at only 6, where on the Wizards, he was at 7 per game. He's down in his assist category, and just across the board efficiency and numbers totals, he's just really not having a great year. And that's what the Trailblazers traded for. They traded for a guy who's the same age as Keegan Murray, even though he's in year number 5. He's only 24 years old. For the Utah Jazz, I think it has to be Walker Kessler. To me, there's not too many names to choose from on this Jazz team. I don't think anybody's really surprised me so far this season, but Walker Kessler has surprised me with how good he's been in year number 3, averaging 3 more points than he did last year at 11 per game, and averaging almost 4 more rebounds this year than he did last year at 11 per game. So he's averaging over a double-double, and I think he's been a guy that a lot of teams are looking to trade for, including the Lakers. Now, the last team here of the video is the New Orleans Pelicans, and honestly, the most surprising thing about the Pelicans is just how injured and how bad their record is. They are horrible. They're in last place in the Western Conference. But for me, I think the player that's looked the most surprising is DeJounte Murray. Now, he has been injured for quite a bit of the season. Only played 8 games as I'm recording this video, but he's still only averaging 16 points per night, 25.5% from 3, 33% from the field. So yes, maybe it's a small sample size. Maybe he's still dealing with that injury he's dealing with, and that's kind of hindering his play. But when he's been on the court, he has not been that same DeJounte Murray that this Pelicans team traded for. But let me know in the comment section down below, what has surprised you the most in the Western Conference from each NBA team? Has there been a standout player in the West that you guys are really shocked and surprised by? Let me know that in the comment section down below. But I do hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.